This is HOA backfired. She stole it, then tried to make me the thief. You are about to get another email. That was what Donna Pierce screamed at me while waving a clipboard inches from my face in the Harbor Point Clubhouse parking lot. She had a red stamp in her other hand and she slammed it down on the paper like she was a judge delivering a sentence. I teach high school history in Richmond, and I had just pulled into my driveway after a brutal parent-teacher conference day when I saw the email notification. Subject line: Community Safety Alert. Porch theft suspect identified. My name was in the body of the email. My address. A neighbor had posted in the community forum that packages were missing from the mailbox cluster, and Donna had pointed at me in the comments, claiming she had credible evidence that I was running a resale scam. I was rebuilding my finances after a bad year, and I could not absorb bogus fees or a tow bill. The stakes were real. Donna is the compliance chair for the Harbor Point Residential Association, and she treats that volunteer rule like it is a federal appointment. She has brown hair pulled back in a tight ponytail, a tan rain jacket with the hood always up even on warm days, and a loud whistle on a cheap lanyard that she loves to blow during neighborhood walks. Her signature move is that red stamp. She carries it everywhere and slams it on violation notices like it is a gavel. I looked up from my phone, and there she was, crossing my lawn like she owned it. Donna marched right up to my car door before I could even unbuckle. I am documenting everything, she said, tapping the clipboard. The claim is already on file. I do not need proof. I have paperwork and vibes. I stared at her. Vibes? You are accusing me of stealing packages based on vibes? She leaned in closer. A neighbor reported missing deliveries. You work from home half the week. You are always here. That makes you a person of interest. I do not work from home, I said. I am a teacher. I am at school until 4. She waved that off. I am neutral, she said. I am just following procedure. But while she was saying that, she was typing on her phone with her free hand. I found out later she was sending a group text to 3 other board members, recruiting them to pressure me. The goalposts were already moving, and I had not even been formally accused yet. She printed a violation notice right there using a portable printer she had in her car. It was an instant enforcement action. She said the accusation was already on record with the management office, and I had 72 hours to respond or face immediate penalties. What penalties? I asked. She smiled. Towing is on the table. Your car is in violation of the guest parking window. I looked at my car. I was parked in my own assigned spot. She pointed at a tiny crack in the curb paint and said the line was unclear and she was interpreting it as guest overflow. That was the threat. She was going to tow my car as punishment for a theft I did not commit, using a parking technicality she invented on the spot. I felt my chest tighten. I need to see the complaint, I said. She shook her head. That is confidential. Community safety. I pulled out my phone and opened the neighborhood app. The original post was from a neighbor named Eric. It said someone had been taking small packages from the mailbox cluster over the past 2 weeks. No names, no photos, just a general warning. Then I scrolled to the comments. Donna had replied, I have been monitoring activity and I have a strong lead. Stand by for enforcement. That was it. No evidence, no proof, just her word. And now she was standing on my driveway with a violation notice and a tow threat. I took a photo of the notice. She tried to block me. Do not photograph HOA documents without permission, she said. I ignored her and kept shooting. She blew her whistle. Twice, sharp, ear-splitting blasts. A neighbor across the street opened his door and looked out. Donna waved at him like everything was fine, then turned back to me. You have 72 hours, she said. Respond in writing to the management office or the tow company will be notified. She walked back to her car, got in, and drove off. I stood there with my pen still gripped too tight in my fist and my heart hammering. I had no idea what I was responding to. No evidence, no witness, just Donna's paperwork and vibes. I went inside and called my friend Marcus. He is a paralegal, and he has dealt with HOA garbage before. I put him on speaker while I paced my kitchen. "Marcus, they are saying I stole packages. They are threatening to tow my car." He sighed. "Did they give you a hearing date?" "No, just a 72-hour deadline to respond in writing. What do they want you to say?" "I do not know." "They would not show me the complaint." He paused. "That is not legal. They have to give you notice and a chance to respond to specific charges. This is just harassment." "What do I do?" "Document everything. Get your own evidence. If you have a doorbell camera, pull the footage. If you do not, see if your neighbors do. And do not let them tow your car without a fight." I did have a doorbell camera. I had installed it 2 months ago after someone kept leaving flyers on my door. I pulled up the app and started scrolling through the past 2 weeks. I went back 14 days. I watched every clip. My camera faces the driveway and catches the edge of the mailbox cluster about 30 yards away. The footage was grainy at that distance, but I could see movement. On 3 separate days, someone in a tan rain jacket with the hood up walked up to the mailbox cluster, opened several boxes with a key, and pulled out small packages. The figure was always alone, always mid-morning, always fast. I zoomed in as much as the app would let me. The jacket was identical to Donna's. Same color, same cut. And on the 3rd clip, I caught a clear frame of the key ring. It was huge. Donna always carried a huge key ring, and she loved to jingle it like it was a symbol of authority. I screenshotted the frame and sent it to Marcus. He called me back in under a minute. "That is her," he said. "That is your smoking gun." "I do not know," I said. "The footage is not clear enough to see her face." "You do not need her face. You need the jacket, the keys, and the timeline. And you need to count those keys." "What?" "Count the keys on her ring. If she has mailbox master keys she should not have, that is your proof. How do I get close enough to count them?" "You do not. You make her show you." The next morning, I went to the management office. It is in the clubhouse building near the front entrance. I brought a printed timeline, my doorbell screenshots, and my phone with the full clips ready to play. The office manager is a woman named Phyllis. She has been there forever, and she does not take garbage from anyone. I walked in, and Phyllis looked up from her desk. "Morning," she said. "What can I do for you?" "I need to file a counter-complaint," I said. "I was accused of package theft, and I have evidence that I did not do it." She frowned. "Who accused you?" "Donna Pierce." She raised her eyebrows. "Let me see what we have." She pulled up the file on her computer. There was a complaint logged under my address. It said I was observed acting suspiciously near the mailbox cluster on multiple occasions, and that a community member reported missing items. No specifics, no timestamps, no evidence. Phyllis printed it and handed it to me. "This is what we have," she said. "You can submit a written response and request a hearing." "I do not want a hearing," I said. "I want to clear this now. I have footage." I opened my phone and showed her the clips. She watched in silence. When the 3rd clip finished, she sat back. "That does look like Donna," she said. "But I cannot take action based on unclear footage. I need something concrete. What if I can prove she has unauthorized mailbox keys?" Phyllis leaned forward. "If she has master keys and she is not authorized, that is a felony." "I am going to count her keys," I said, "in public, and if the count does not match what she is supposed to have, I am filing a police report." Phyllis nodded slowly. "I cannot help you with that," she said, "but if you get proof, bring it here first." I left the office and went straight to the mailbox cluster. I used my flashlight to check the locks. They were standard USPS cluster box locks. You need 2 keys to open them, your individual box key and a master key for the big parcel compartment at the bottom. Residents get individual keys. The postal carrier has the master. HOA board members are not supposed to have masters unless they are explicitly authorized by the postmaster. I took photos of the lock serial numbers. Then I called the post office. I explained the situation to the clerk. She put me on hold, then came back. "We have 1 master key issued to your complex," she said. "It is assigned to the property management office, not to any individual board member." That is what I needed. I thanked her and hung up. Now I just had to get Donna to show her keys. I did not have to wait long. That afternoon, she showed up at my door. She had a printed notice in her hand and her phone in a gimbal rig. She was filming. "This is Donna Pierce, compliance chair," she said into the camera. "I am here to serve a final notice to the resident of this address regarding ongoing theft and fraud." She stepped closer. The camera was inches from my face. "I am documenting this interaction for community safety. You have been identified as the primary suspect in a package resale scam. You need to provide a written confession and return the stolen items, or the HOA will proceed with immediate enforcement, including towing and possible trespass action." I stared at her. "You are insane," I said. She smiled. "I am documenting everything." She held up the notice. "This is your last chance. Sign this acknowledgement, and we can resolve this quietly." I took the paper. It was a pre-printed form. It said I acknowledged receiving multiple warnings and I agreed to reimburse the HOA for investigation costs and provide a full inventory of stolen items. There was a blank line for my signature. "If I sign this, I am admitting guilt," I said. "You are admitting responsibility," she said. "There is a difference." "No, there is not." She jingled her key ring. It was loud. The sound echoed in the doorway. I counted fast. There were at least a dozen keys on that ring. Way more than any resident should have. "How many mailbox keys do you have?" I asked. She stopped jingling. "That is none of your business. You are not authorized to have a master key." She narrowed her eyes. "I am the compliance chair. I have access to all common areas. Mailboxes are not common areas. They are federal property. Show me your key ring." She stepped back. "This conversation is over. Sign the form or face the consequences." She turned and walked away, still filming herself. I closed the door and called Marcus again. "She just tried to force a confession," I said, on camera. "Did you sign?" "No." "Good. Did you see her keys?" "Yeah, at least 12. Way more than she should have." He paused. "That is your proof. If you can get a clear count and match it to what she is not supposed to have, you have her." "How do I get a clear count without getting arrested for harassment?" "You wait for her to use them in public. And you film it." The next day, a tow truck showed up in the parking lot. I was pulling in after work and I saw the driver standing next to my car with a clipboard. I parked in the guest lot and ran over. "Hey," I said. "That is my car." The driver looked up. "You the owner?" "Yeah." "What is going on?" "I got a dispatch order from your HOA. Unauthorized parking." "That is my assigned spot." He shrugged. "I just hook what I am told to hook. I do not ask questions." "I need to see the authorization," I said. He handed me a printed email. It was from Donna. It said my car was in violation of guest parking policy and needed immediate removal. I pulled out my phone and called Marcus. I put him on speaker. "Marcus, the tow guy is here." Donna sent him. Marcus's voice came through clear and loud. "Sir, do you have written authorization from the property owner or the HOA board?" The driver looked uncomfortable. "I have an email from the compliance chair." "That is not enough," Marcus said. You need board approval or assigned tow authorization from management. If you hook that car without proper authorization, you are liable for damages. The driver looked at me, then at his clipboard. I am going to call my dispatcher, he said. He walked back to his truck. I stood there with my phone still on speaker. Marcus, what do I do? Wait, he said. If he hooks it, get his company name and truck number. We will file a complaint with the state, but I do not think he will. A minute later, the driver came back. My dispatcher says I need written authorization from the management office, he said, not just an email. I am going to pass on this one. He climbed into his truck and drove off. I exhaled. Donna was walking across the parking lot toward me. She had her phone out and she was filming again. Why is that truck leaving? She demanded. Because he is not allowed to tow without proper authorization, I said. I authorized it. You are not the board. I am the compliance chair. That gives me enforcement authority. No, it does not. She stopped filming and stepped closer. You are in violation, she said. You are going to pay for this. For what? Parking in my own spot? She jingled her key ring again. I am adding obstruction to your file. And I am escalating this to the vendor. What vendor? The trash company. The landscapers. Anyone who services this property. I am going to make sure they know you are non-compliant. She pulled out her phone and started typing. I watched her send an email. Then she looked up at me. You think you are smart, she said. But I have the records. I have the authority. And I have the community on my side. She turned and walked toward the clubhouse. I followed her. I was not letting this go. She went into the management office. I went in right behind her. Phyllis looked up. Donna slammed her key ring on the counter. I need you to blacklist a resident, Donna said. He is interfering with enforcement actions and threatening vendors. Phyllis looked at me, then back at Donna. I am not blacklisting anyone without a board vote. This is urgent. It is also not legal. Donna leaned over the counter. I am the compliance chair. I have the authority to recommend immediate action. Recommend, yes. Execute? No. You need a board meeting and a vote. Donna's face turned red. Fine, she said. I will call an emergency meeting. She turned to me. You are going to regret this. She stormed out. Phyllis waited until the door closed, then looked at me. She is losing it, Phyllis said. I need to file a formal complaint, I said. Against her. For what? Harassment, false accusation, unauthorized use of mailbox keys, and attempted fraud. Phyllis sighed. You have proof? I have footage, I said. And I have a witness who heard her try to blacklist me with vendors. Phyllis nodded. Write it up. I will add it to the file. But you need to be ready for her to escalate. She is not going to let this go. I know, I said. That is why I am going to finish it. I went home and pulled every piece of evidence I had. The doorbell footage, the timeline, the screenshots of her key ring, the email from the tow company, the recording of her trying to force a confession. I compiled it all into a single PDF and emailed it to Phyllis with a timestamp. Then I called Marcus. I sent the packet, I said. What is next? Now you wait, he said. And you keep your head down. If she tries anything else, you document it and you call me. What if she tries to get me trespassed? She cannot. You are a resident. She has no authority to ban you from common areas. What about the emergency meeting? If she calls one, you show up. And you bring everything. The meeting got scheduled for 3 days later. It was supposed to be a closed session, but Donna sent out a community-wide email announcing it as a public safety hearing. She framed it like I was a criminal and the board was going to decide my fate. The email went out to every resident. My name was in it. My address. A summary of the accusations. I got texts from neighbors I barely knew asking if I was okay. Some of them believed Donna. Some of them thought it was ridiculous. But everyone was talking about it. Marcus told me to stay calm. Let her dig her own hole, he said. The deeper she goes, the worse it is for her. The night before the meeting, I got a knock on my door. It was Eric, the neighbor who had posted the original complaint about missing packages. "Hey," he said, "can we talk?" I let him in. He looked uncomfortable. "I need to tell you something," he said. "Donna came to my house 2 days ago. She told me you confessed and that I needed to submit a written statement for the hearing." "I did not confess," I said. "I know," he said. "I figured that out when I saw the footage you posted in the neighborhood app." "Wait, what footage? You did not post it?" "No." He pulled out his phone and showed me. Someone had posted a compilation of my doorbell clips in the community forum. The post was anonymous, but it had a caption, "Real thief caught on camera. Check the jacket and the keys." The post had 50 comments. Most of them were calling out Donna. A few were defending her. But the momentum had shifted. Eric looked at me. "I am sorry," he said. "I should not have let her pressure me. I just wanted my packages back." "It is fine," I said. "Did you ever get them back?" "No. And I do not think I will. Because I think Donna took them." "Why?" He hesitated. "Because I saw her going through the donation bin at the clubhouse last week. She had a trash bag and she was pulling stuff out. I thought it was weird, but I did not say anything." "What kind of stuff?" "I do not know. It looked like small boxes, maybe books or supplies." "There is a donation jar at the clubhouse?" "Yeah. It is for the community fundraiser. People drop off items and the HOA is supposed to sell them and use the money for landscaping." Eric left and I sat there processing what he had just told me. A donation jar. Small boxes. A trash bag. I called Marcus. "She is stealing from the donation bin," I said. "That is your motive," he said. "She is taking packages from the mailbox cluster and from the donation bin, and she is framing you to cover it up." "How do I prove it?" "You check the bin. If items are missing and there is no record of where they went, that is embezzlement." The meeting was set for 7 p.m. in the clubhouse conference room. I showed up at 6:45 with my evidence binder, my phone, and Marcus on speed dial. The room was packed. At least 20 residents were there. Donna was at the front table with 2 other board members. She had her red stamp, her clipboard, and a stack of printed notices. She saw me walk in and she stood up. "This is a closed hearing," she said. "Residents may observe, but the accused may not speak unless recognized." "I am not accused of anything," I said. "I am here to clear my name." Donna looked at the other board members. They looked uncomfortable. One of them, a man named Greg, cleared his throat. "Donna, this is not a criminal trial. He has a right to speak." She sat down hard. "Fine," she said. "Let him speak. Let him explain why he has been stealing from his neighbors and reselling their property." I walked to the front and set my binder on the table. "I did not steal anything," I said, "and I have proof." I opened the binder and pulled out the timeline. This is a record of every package delivery to my address over the past 2 weeks. Every item is accounted for. I have photos, tracking numbers, and receipts. Donna waved her hand. "That does not prove anything. You could have bought those items after the fact." "I also have doorbell camera footage," I said. I pulled out my phone and connected it to the TV on the wall. The room went quiet. I played the first clip. It showed a figure in a tan rain jacket walking up to the mailbox cluster, opening multiple boxes with a key and pulling out small packages. I played the second clip. Same jacket. Same key ring. Same motion. I played the third clip. This one had the clearest frame of the key ring. I froze it and zoomed in. "That key ring has at least 12 keys," I said. I called the post office. Residents are issued one individual mailbox key. The only master key for the parcel compartment is assigned to the property management office, not to any board member. Donna stood up. That is irrelevant, she said. I am authorized to access common areas. Mailboxes are federal property, I said. You are not authorized to have a master key unless the postmaster issued it to you directly. Did they? She did not answer. I looked at Phyllis, who was sitting in the back. Phyllis, can you confirm? Phyllis stood up. The management office has the only master key on file. No board member is authorized to carry one. The room erupted. Neighbors started talking over each other. Greg banged his hand on the table. Order, he said. Everyone quiet. He looked at Donna. Donna, do you have a mailbox master key? She crossed her arms. I have keys to multiple areas. That is part of my role. Answer the question. Do you have a mailbox master key? She paused. I may have access to certain keys for enforcement purposes. That is a yes, Greg said. Where did you get it? That is confidential. No, it is not. If you have an unauthorized key, that is a federal offense. Donna's face turned red. She sat down and stared at the table. I kept going. I also have a recording of her attempting to coerce a confession from me, I said. I played the audio clip from my doorbell camera. Her voice came through clear. Sign this acknowledgement and we can resolve this quietly. The room went silent again. Greg looked at Donna. You tried to force him to sign a confession? I was following procedure, she said. What procedure? She did not answer. I pulled out the next document. This is an email Donna sent to a tow company ordering them to remove my car from my assigned parking spot without board approval or written authorization from management. The tow driver refused because it was illegal. She stood up again. That is enough, she said. This is a witch hunt. No, I said. This is evidence. And there is more. I pulled out the final piece. A neighbor reported that Donna was seen removing items from the community donation bin last week. The bin is supposed to be sealed and inventoried by the treasurer. I looked at the other board members. Has the donation bin been inventoried recently? Greg looked at the treasurer, a woman named Linda. Linda shook her head. Not in 2 months, she said. We have been waiting for Donna to submit the count. She is supposed to log every item and provide a receipt for the sale. Donna slammed her hand on the table. I have been busy, she said. Busy stealing, someone shouted from the back. The room erupted again. Greg banged the table harder. That is enough. Everyone out except board members and the parties involved. The neighbors filed out slowly, whispering and filming on their phones. When the room cleared, Greg looked at Donna. Donna, I am suspending your compliance rule effective immediately pending a full investigation. She stood up fast. You cannot do that. I just did. You need a vote. We will hold one next week. But until then, you are not allowed to issue notices, access common areas, or contact residents about enforcement. She grabbed her clipboard and her stamp. This is illegal, she said. You are protecting a thief. No, Greg said. I am protecting the association from liability. Get out. She stormed out of the room. The door slammed so hard the frame shook. Greg turned to me. I am sorry, he said. This should never have happened. I appreciate that, I said. But I want it in writing. I want the accusation expunged from my record, and I want a formal apology sent to every resident who received that email. He nodded. You will have it by tomorrow. I also want the donation bin audited, I said, and I want a police report filed if anything is missing. Linda spoke up. I will handle the audit, she said. If there are discrepancies, I will report them. I left the meeting and walked back to my car. My hands were shaking. I sat in the driver's seat and called Marcus. "It is done," I said. "She is suspended." "Good," he said. "Now you wait for the audit. If she stole from the bin, that is embezzlement. And if she used HOA funds or resources to cover it up, that is fraud. What happens to her? That depends on what they find. But at minimum, she is off the board. At maximum, she is facing criminal charges." The audit took 3 days. Linda sent an email to the board with the results. The donation bin was supposed to have 80 items logged and ready for sale. It had 32. 48 items were missing. There was no record of sale, no receipt, and no explanation. Linda also found something else. The donation jar itself had a broken seal. It was supposed to be locked with a tamper-proof tag. The tag was missing. Linda filed a police report. 2 days later, a deputy showed up at Donna's house. I was not there, but Eric saw it happen. He texted me a photo. The deputy was standing on Donna's porch with a clipboard. Donna was in the doorway with her arms crossed. The next board meeting was scheduled for the following week. Donna showed up. She sat in the back with her rain jacket hood up and her key ring in her lap. Greg called the meeting to order. "First item," he said. "Audit results and compliance chair removal." Linda stood up and read the findings. 48 missing items. No documentation. Broken seal on the donation jar. Estimated loss of $600. She sat down. Greg looked at Donna. "Donna, do you have anything to say?" She stood up slowly. "This is retaliation," she said. "You are punishing me because I tried to enforce the rules." "No," Greg said. "We are removing you because you violated the rules. And you lied. And you stole." "I did not steal anything," she said. "Then where are the missing items?" She did not answer. Greg held up a printed motion. "I am calling for a vote to remove Donna Pierce from the board effective immediately and to refer the matter to law enforcement for further investigation." All in favor? 3 hands went up. Opposed? Donna raised her hand. She was the only one. "The motion passes," Greg said. "Donna, you are no longer a board member. Please surrender your keys and leave the premises." She stood there for a long moment. Then she pulled her key ring out of her pocket and threw it on the table. It landed with a loud crash. She walked out without another word. The room stayed silent until the door closed. Then someone started clapping. It spread. By the time I left, half the room was applauding. The HOA sent a formal apology email to all residents the next day. It said the accusation against me was unfounded and that the compliance chair had been removed for misconduct. It also said the association was implementing new controls on donations and enforcement to prevent future abuse. I got texts from neighbors apologizing. Eric brought over a 6-pack and said he was sorry for doubting me. I told him it was fine. A week later, I got a call from Phyllis. "The police finished their investigation," she said. "They are charging Donna with theft and embezzlement. She took items from the donation bin and from the mailbox cluster. They found some of the packages in her garage. What about the master key? She had 3 of them. One for the mailboxes, one for the clubhouse storage, and one for the pool gate. None of them were authorized. How did she get them? She made copies during her first year on the board. No one checked." Phyllis paused. "There is something else," she said. "What?" "She tried to come back to the management office yesterday. She wanted to file a complaint against you. I told her she was trespassed and if she came back I would call the police. She started yelling, and I had to lock the door." "Did you call them?" "Yes. They escorted her off the property and told her she is banned from the clubhouse and the office." I thanked Phyllis and hung up. That night, I got an email from Greg. "The board voted to expunge the violation from your record and to issue a formal policy clarification banning selective enforcement." The new policy said that any enforcement action required written authorization from the management office and documented evidence. No board member could issue a notice or threaten a penalty without approval. It was a policy clarification that destroyed Karen's favorite tactic. That was the payback I wanted. 2 weeks later, Donna was formally charged. The story made the local news. A small article in the Richmond Times said a former HOA board member was accused of stealing donations and using her position to harass residents. Her name was in the article. Her photo was included. I did not feel bad. The HOA reversed the enforcement action and expunged the entry from my record. Karen got trespassed from the management office lobby after a meltdown. I ran into Eric at the mailbox cluster a month later. He was checking his mail and he saw me walk up. "Hey," he said, "did you hear?" "Hear what?" "Donna moved out. She is gone." "When?" "Last week. Her house went up for sale and she was gone in 3 days. I did not say anything. I just opened my mailbox and grabbed my mail." Eric smiled. "You won," he said. "Yeah," I said. I did. The neighborhood was quieter after that. No more violation notices. No more emergency meetings. No more whistles blown at random hours. The new compliance chair was a retired engineer named Paul who actually read the rules before he enforced them. He sent polite emails instead of threats. He asked for clarification instead of assuming guilt. It was boring. It was perfect. I kept my evidence binder in my closet just in case. Marcus told me to hold on to it for at least a year in case Donna tried to sue. She never did. The criminal case moved slowly. I got a call from the prosecutor 6 months later asking if I would testify. I said yes. The trial was scheduled for the following spring, but Donna took a plea deal before it started. She pleaded guilty to theft and embezzlement. She was sentenced to probation, community service, and restitution. She had to pay back the HOA for the missing donation items and cover the cost of the audit. The total was over $2,000. I never saw her again. I heard from Eric that she moved to another state. I did not ask where. I did not care. I stayed in Harbor Point for another 2 years. I got involved in the board elections and helped vote in new members who actually cared about the community instead of the power. We rewrote the enforcement policy. We added transparency requirements. We made it harder for one person to abuse the system. It was not perfect, but it was better. I eventually moved to a different part of Richmond for work, but I stayed in touch with a few neighbors. Eric still texts me every few months with HOA drama updates. Most of it is boring. Sometimes I see a post in a neighborhood forum about a rogue board member or a compliance chair on a power trip, and I send them my evidence binder template. I tell them to document everything. I tell them to get their own footage. I tell them not to let anyone steamroll them with paperwork and vibes. Because that is all it is. Paperwork and vibes. And if you have better paperwork, you win. Looking back, the whole thing was absurd. A volunteer HOA board member stole packages and donation items, framed me for it, tried to tow my car, and got caught because she loved jingling her keys too much. But it was also real. It cost me time. It cost me stress. It almost cost me money I could not afford to lose, and it taught me that you cannot assume the system will protect you. You have to protect yourself. More HOA drama soon.